Hello everyone and welcome to my second album review. This time we're going to be taking a look at a Pennsylvania-based technical thrash metal band named Believer. Believer is a technical thrash metal band that formed in Colebrook, Pennsylvania in 1986. What I'm about to say about them is going to scare a number of you off because you think this type of person can't possibly make any good music. Believer is, or at least was at one point in time, a Christian metal band. I have heard that they decided to drop the Christianity part of their music at some point because they thought that it was limiting themselves lyrically, but I can neither confirm nor deny that. For those of you who know that bands like Mortification or Living Sacrifice have produced damn fine music in the past, let us continue. Believer is known to write on topics on occasion that aren't related to Christianity, and we'll get more into that once we actually get into the album review proper. In 1987, Believer released their demo. It is entitled The Return. It's a 3-track demo, and it's pretty good. I will provide a link down below for you guys to check that out if you wish. After this demo, they were signed to REX Recordings, a record label that focuses on Christian metal and hard rock bands. The record label also carries Living Sacrifice and Paramecium. Paramecium was a doom metal project of the former drummer of Mortification after he left the band after their first 3 albums. They were an independent label, and sadly they closed their doors in 1995. Believer released their first full-length album, Extraction from Morality, on this record label in 1989. They came back in 1990 with their second album entitled Sanity Obscure. This is the album that we will be focusing on today. 2 interesting notes. The first one is that the classic first-person shooter Doom used a riff from the title track of this album in one of its songs. That song was called On the Hunt. It is in episode 1, Knee Deep in the Dead, map 6, Central Processing. Here is the original Believer version. Here is it as it sounds in Doom. Second note is the band CKY used a song of theirs in their movie CKY2K. It was used during the rental car scene when the car was on fire. The song was Dies Area, I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not entirely sure, and I probably butchered it. I would describe most of this album as controlled chaos. It's very chaotic, but there's a method to the madness that the band brings forth. It is highly technical, very aggressive, extremely heavy, and very, very fast. Anyone that enjoys expert technical instrumentalists should at least appreciate this album if they don't actually enjoy it. The first track is the title track, and it starts off with what appears to be ice cream truck music as driven by this man. After this, it kicks straight into the classic riff that everybody is familiar with from Doom. And it is awesome. It is even heavier than it is in the game. From there, the album gets faster and more aggressive and more chaotic and a whole lot more technical as it progresses until you get to a brief little acoustic interlude before the lyrics kick in. Kirk Bachman, the singer and guitarist and primary songwriter for the band, has a very unique singing style that kind of sounds like he's holding back something much more sinister within him. It's either a love it or hate it type thing. This might make or break the band for a lot of people, but I happen to like it. Lyrically, this opening track is about the apocalypse and the sanity, or lack thereof, as the case may be, of everyone that will be left behind. The second song is entitled Wisdom's Call. It starts with a brief drum intro before the band kicks into their unique brand of technical riffing. When you get to the lyrics in this particular song, the band laxes a little bit on the technical riffing without sacrificing any of the speed or ferocity of the first track. Lyrically, this track is about people who choose to ignore wisdom and live in ignorance. The solos on this track really show the band's ability to change speeds and time signatures both fluidly. The third track is called Non-Point, and it has the band slowing down for the very first time on the album. The song starts with an acoustic intro that lasts about 40 seconds, after which it progressively gets heavier and more aggressive and more technical the longer the song goes on. This song also sees a greater variation in different speeds that the band plays at than the first two, where the first two were pretty much all aggressive, all fast all the time. This one slows down a bit at times. This song also features some of the best solo work on the entire album, so take a look out for that. It's very, very good. Lyrically, this song is a major shift in gears from everything before it. Where the first two songs had kind of a Christian message to them, this one is a bit more political. It's an environmental message about how humans are destroying the earth and the environment both. The fourth track is called Idols of Ignorance. This song features some of the best double bass on the entire album by far. It's pretty fast too. And it features tons of blast beats everywhere, and we all know metalheads love that. This is actually one of the faster songs on the album, as it really speeds things up to a feverish pitch, especially in comparison to the previous song, which slowed things down a little bit at times, especially with the 40-second acoustic intro. Lyrically, this is by far the most Christian thing on the album, as the lyrics are about false idols that humans build and worship, and how they shouldn't do that, really. The fifth song on the album is called Stop the Madness, and if the intro does not get your attention and tell you immediately what the song is about, then the chorus will. It goes, line by line, I watch you die, too blind to see your shattered dreams. And never has a lyric been so clearly about drugs since Metallica wrote Chop Your Breakfast on a Mirror. The intro to this song is a series of sound effects followed by a little bit of spoken word that should immediately give away that this is an anti-drug song, or at least that it is about drugs. The riffs themselves in this particular song do scale back on the technical ability a little bit from the previous songs on this album, but it does feature some of the better solos on the album, and it features the best drum fills on the album. The drum fills in this song are awesome. This also sees the band doing dual soloing, where both guitarists are playing solos at the exact same time. This is a nice little touch, to be sure. The sixth song on this album is called Diarrhea. I think that's how it's pronounced. I probably butchered it again. But this song sees a major, and I do mean major, shift in the sound of the band, as this particular song, for the first 3 minutes, is just a female singer singing in Latin over orchestration. Her name is Julian Laird Hogue, H-O-G-E. That's how it's spelled. That's how I assume it's pronounced. Again, I could be wrong. After the 3-minute mark, the band does join in with the orchestra. The song gets progressively heavier and a bit faster from here. It never gets overly aggressive, though, and it never really approaches the brutality of the earlier songs on this album. It does get a little bit fast and thrashy, however. The female vocals, the orchestration, and the band all playing together kind of come across as an early example of gothic metal. So think of bands like Lacuna Coil or Epica, and you get the general idea. In the final seconds of this particular song, it goes back to just the woman singing with the orchestration playing and the band stops playing. When this album was released back in 1990, reviewers said that this particular track was the crowning achievement of the album. While I do not necessarily agree with this assessment, this is a very good track and kind of a breath of fresh air in comparison to how the rest of this album is pretty much all thrash metal all the time. It does, however, come out of left field. It left me shocked the very first time I heard it because I wasn't expecting it at all. The seventh track, Dust to Dust, starts off with a drum and bass intro before kicking into one of the most complex riffs, possibly the most complex overall, on the entire album, featuring 3 guitars going all at once. Once the song kicks in after that, it does return to the highly technical and chaotic riffing of the first 5 tracks of this album. It's a return to form of sorts. Lyrically, this song is about the circle of life. We come from dust, we return to dust, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the end, is what the song is ultimately saying. The final track of this album, track 8, is called Like a Song. If that sounds familiar, it's because it is a U2 song. The last track of this album is a U2 cover, which is a little bit strange, and being that it is a U2 song, it is structured very differently from the thrash metal that encompasses most of the rest of this album. The band did, however, do a very nice job of covering this particular track and turning it into a metal song, a task that could not have been easy to do given the source material. U2 is very, very not metal. Think of this as when Sodom ended their album Agent Orange with the tank cover Don't Walk Away. It is notably simpler than the stuff that came before it, but what do you expect? The Believer didn't write it, and that is not necessarily a bad thing. The drum fills are nice and the solos are once again top notch. Sanity Obscure really shows just how incredibly talented of a band Believer was, both in songwriting skill and in technical ability. This band had a lot to offer, and in this particular album, they happen to offer a lot. The use of their music in Doom and CKY2K shows that this band had a lot of reach and influence. And the song Die Area, or Dies Areas, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but it really shows that the band had a lot more talent than just the ability to play thrash metal. This is a band capable of doing multiple styles of music if they so want to. If you like complex music that shows off a lot of technical ability, definitely pick this one up. This is a great album. If you happen to love thrash metal, this album deserves a place on your shelf as well. This is a highly underrated and overlooked thrash metal masterpiece, and it has my highest recommendation. This album definitely earns a place alongside the greats like Agent Orange by Sodom, Master of Puppets by Metallica, Hell Awaits by Slayer, or Bonded by Blood by Exodus. Hey, I've done one more of these reviews in the past. It was on the album The Upcoming Terror by Assassin, a German thrash metal band. You can click here to check it out. I would appreciate it if you would like and comment on this video, and if you would subscribe. That would help me a lot and do me a lot of good, and I would greatly appreciate that as well. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you guys next time. See ya, everybody.